So we'll start, no? Is the PPT visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll start. So the PPTs are visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the previous session, we were speaking about Android, that is the second module. So getting started with the Android programming. In that, we saw what is Android and 1 second. We saw what is Android and we also saw the features. Then we came for the architecture of the Android. Then we saw different devices. Then we also saw the different tools which are required. So your textbook is saying that you require Eclipse. So they've also given you the link from where you can download Eclipse. Then the Android Studio, as well as the JDK. Okay. So once all these are installed, okay, 41, 42 people are there. So once you've installed Eclipse, JDK, Android Studio, the next thing what we require is the Android development tool. So this Android development tool is nothing but a plugin for the Eclipse, using which you can create as well as debug Android applications. Okay, so that's the next thing what you have to do. So using this ADT, we are able to. The first thing is, first of all, is create an Android application. Then you can also access the tools that is required for the Android emulator. So your emulator is nothing but how it is used to test how your application will be in the when it is in installed in the system. Okay. Then it's also possible to compile and debug your Android application, export the application into Android packages, as well as create digital certificates. So all these things are possible using your Android development tools. So how to install this Android development tool? So again, they're speaking about that is in Eclipse, how you can install this. So here, so I'll show you how it is in Eclipse. In your textbook, they have told to do in Eclipse. So for that purpose, I'll just show you. But in the lab, we will go for Android Studio instead of going for Eclipse. Okay. So I'll just show you. People are there, right? Guys, are you there? Is it visible? Guys, are you there?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Please tell, okay, because I don't know whether I'm disconnected or what. Okay. So is this Eclipse ID visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
One second, it is starting. So first of all, you have to download the Android development tools. Once after that is done, then the next step is you have to create the Android virtual devices. So to this Android virtual device is nothing but we say it as emulator. So in this, it is possible for you to test your application, what you have developed. So along with that, it is also having the storage and hardware profile also. So this testing part is very important, so because of that only you'll get to know how your application is going to behave in the what is visible to you all. Eclipse ID is visible.
No, ma'am. Nothing is visible.
Actually, I wanted to show Eclipse, it's not responding here. I'll just show you the Eclipse part in textbook PDF. Okay. Is the PPT visible?
No, ma'am, we are not presenting. Now, yes, ma'am, visible.
Okay. So actually, I wanted to show you the eclipse, but it is not. It's not responding here. I'll just show you in the form of the text in the text PDF. Okay. So after installing your Eclipse, then the next part you have to download this or install this Android development tools. Then after that we have to create the Android virtual device. So in this we are going to test our application. Okay. So I'll just show you the textbook PDF, which they have shown it in terms of images. Is this visible?
No, ma'am, no, ma'am.
God, what is this? This is very difficult.
Yes, ma'am.
It's visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Here you can see to install this ADT, that is a development tool. You have to go to this particular location. That is, once you launch your IDE, then you have to go to help, and under help you have install new software. So if you click on there, you'll be getting a location, that is a text box where you have to enter the path. So in your textbook they have given it diagrammatically. I'll just show you that. So I'm not able to run Eclipse here. So you're going to help and you're going to install new software. When you're going install new software, you'll be getting like this. You'll be getting like this. So here you have to enter that path. Okay. Is this visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you can see here you have a small box called as developer tools. So you just have to check mark it. Then after that you can it will start installing whatever that is a development tools you require. All those will be installed. Okay. So this particular thing takes lot of time as well as your data also. So I'm just showing you these things because it is given in your textbook. We will be, instead of going for Eclipse, we will do it in Android Studio only. That is better compared to this. So, but since it is given in your syllabus, I'll just show you all these things. So you can see here, when you click on this, it will tell you like these are the tools. If you want, you can install all those, but all those are required. You just click on next and finish. Okay, so this is how you have to install the application development tools. So it will be installing. So after it is done, in the preference window, so you'll be getting a error message like this. So in that case, what you have to do, in the preference window, you have to select Android. So in that case, the error like this will be coming in. That time you have to give the path. enter the location for the Android SDK folder. So you can see here the error says that the location of the Android SDK has not been set up. So please go to preference Android and set up it. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to give a path for this SDK folder. So that path you can give as C colon slash Android SDK Windows, and then click on OK. So that time what happens, all the development tools what you require, that will be installed. Okay, so they are nothing but the plugins for Eclipse. And after the tools are done, the next thing is you have to create the virtual device. So for creating the virtual device, again you have to go to here, you have to go to Windows, and you have to go to Android SDK and AVD manager. Okay, so some cases first time when you're installing, these things won't be there. So in such cases you have to go to Windows, then customize perspective. So there you'll get an option. So there you'll be getting a drop down list, and there you have to click on Android, and you have to apply and close. You have to click on that. Only if you have done that, then this particular thing, that is Android SDK and AVD manager, will be visible to you. Okay, so here you can select the AVD, that is your virtual device. So a lot of process is there in Eclipse, but instead if you go for Android, a lot of things are reduced. So we will be doing in Android Studio only. Okay, instead of going for this Eclipse IDE. So here, what you're doing, you want to create a new Android virtual device. So you can see here, you have to select the name, and you have to select the target and also the size. All these things you have to do, and finally you have to click on create AVD. So what does that do is, that is going to create a virtual device or the emulator wherein you can check your application. Okay, so these are the things what you have to do. So under Eclipse. So instead of that, we will go for Android Studio. Okay, so I'll just show you with respect to Android Studio. Is this visible?
Not visible, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No. Now, now is it visible?
No, ma'am.
This problem is only in my class, or now anything visible?
ma'am. Nothing.
Mm,
No, ma'am.
to- Showing as you're presenting. Now,
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
at least you're getting that rotating thing saying that presenting.
No, nothing is there.
Now anything?
No, ma'am. You're presenting, but nothing is visible.
Then I'll just show the PPT, okay? I wanted to show the Android thing. It's not. This PPT is visible.
No. No, ma'am.
What to do? Shit.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, today also raining.
Today it is not raining. What to do? Yeah, I should sit
Yeah,
on.
ma'am. Now, yes, ma'am.
Now what is visible?
Now, anatomy of an Android application.
Okay, okay. Thank God. At least this is there. Okay, I'll show this only then. Okay.
Okay.
Can you all download Android Studio in your system instead of Eclipse? No, go for Android Studio. Okay. So we'll see now. This PPT is visible, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So we'll go to the anatomy of an Android application. Means what and all is there in an Android application. So first of all, we say something called as activity. Okay. So an activity is nothing but it that is a window which contains the user interface for your application. Now, user interface in the sense you might be having a text box, you might be having a button, all those things. Okay, so activity in simple words, if you're saying, that is a window which will contain the user interface which are belonging to your application. Okay, so an application when application, when you say, it can have any number of activities. It is not like it is having only one activity, nothing like that. But in that, one thing will be the main activity, that will be one. Now how simple, take C program only. In C program you can have only one main, right? You can have any number of functions, but main function will be only one. Similarly here, any number of activities you can have, but the main activity will be only one, and that is nothing but the entry point of your application. Okay, so that is the activity, or that is a thing which will be displayed when your application is started. So first thing, you are telling about the activity. So activity is nothing but in that you will be having the user interfaces of your application, and your application can have any number of activities, but it will have only one main activity, and that main activity will be the entry point of your application. Okay, when your application is started. So when we are debugging, or when you are testing your application on the emulator, the application is automatically installed in that emulator. Okay, so that is what you have to tell about the activities first. So I hope I'm clear. So from where your application will start executing or running? From the main activity. Okay, and the application will be automatically installed into the emulator. Emulator is nothing but the virtual device what we spoke previously. So now we'll come to the anatomy of Android application. So you can see here, the name of your application is Hello World. In that application, you have folders like source, then generated Java files, then Android. So we'll see each of them. So that is nothing but your anatomy. Okay, anatomy of an application consists of various folders and their files. So that is what you have to tell in case it is asked. Okay, so this is an important question. Anatomy of Android application. So what does it contain? It contains various folders and their files. So to begin with, first we'll speak about source. So this source contains a file, that is the main activity .java. Okay, so you can see here, under source you have main activity .java. So this is a source file of your activity. So you will write the code for your application in this particular file. So what happens is, you will have an XML file and you will have a Java file. So here XML file you can say as that is a layout on how your application will be looking, or how it should look. Okay, so XML file will be containing information about the interfaces what you are having in your application, like text box, buttons, all those things. And whereas your .java, that will contain the code which will synchronize all the activities that will be going on in the layout. Layout is the entire thing where you will have your text boxes or buttons, all those things. In other way, you can say user interface. Okay. So the first folder, what you have to tell is about source. So source contains a file. That file is called as main activity.java. So this is nothing but the source file of your activity. Okay. So all the code what you write for your application will be present in this particular file. Next one you have is the generated Java file. That folder name is GN, and inside that you can see you have a file named r.java. Okay, so this particular folder contains a file named as r.java. What is this? So this r.java is nothing but the compiler generated file. Okay, that is referencing all the sources that is found in your application. So this particular file you should not modify. Okay, so this is nothing but the compiler generated file for all the resources of your application. So that is about the generated file. Next one you can see here is Android. In that you can see you have a file called as android.jar. So Android.jar is nothing but this particular file contains all the class libraries which is required for your Android application. Okay. So what you have to say, first you're telling about source, which contains main activity.java, which contains the code of your application. Next you have r.java, that is nothing but the compiler generated file. So this particular thing you should not modify, r.java. And the next one you have is android.jar, which contains all the class libraries that are required for your Android application. Other than that, the next folder what you have is assets. So assets, this particular folder contains all the assets that are used in your application. What can be the meaning of assets? In your application you might be using a database, so that is called as an asset. Or you might be using some text files, even that is nothing but an asset. So all those things comes under your folder called as assets. Okay, next one you have is resource, that is res is nothing but the resource. Okay, this folder contains all the resources that are required in your application. So you can see here, you are having some subfolders, like drawable HDPI and MDPI, all those things. So overall, what you can say, drawable. So what is this drawable? So the subfolder drawable, it consists of all the image files that are used by the Android application, or in your Android application, any images you are using. So all those images will be present in this particular folder. Okay. So we have the resource folder. In that folder, the first subfolder what we are speaking is drawable. Okay. And followed by that, some resolution might be there, like one HDPI and MDPI, that's nothing but the resolutions. Okay. So all the image files that are used in application will be stored over here. And the next one you can see after drawable is layout. Okay. So what is this layout? So layout contains, so in the beginning I said, your application will be containing, the first thing what will be there is, so first when you give file, when you give new, and when you're creating the project, that is Android project, in that what you'll be having in the beginning is, you'll be having an XML file and you'll be having a .java file. So .java we already spoke over here, that is nothing but the code. And now under layout we'll be speaking about the XML file. So this layout will be containing that main.xml, or activity underscore main also it can be named as. So this particular file, that is nothing but it is a interface, that is what and all interfaces you're using, like text view, or buttons, or radio buttons, all those things, whatever you're using, that will be, or that related information will be there in this activity underscore main, or main.xml. Okay. And the next one you have is values. The subfolder under the resources values. So values contain files like, one of the file you can see here is strings.xml. Other than that, you can also have styles.xml. So these are required for storing string variables. Okay. So which you are going to use in your application. So those string variables will be stored in this uh, values, that is in the string.xml. Other than that, you are having Android manifest.xml. So this is the manifest file, that is for your Android application, wherein you can specify permissions that are required for your application. Along with that, some other filters, if you're using some receivers, or if you're using some filters, all those information will be present in Android manifest.xml. So these are the different folders, or you can also say files, which are present in Android application. This is a very very important question, so please make sure you are getting this. Okay. So the first folder is source. Under source you have main activity.java, which will be containing code of your application. Then you have generated folder, in that you have r.java. Can you alter this r.java? Can you modify this particular file? Guys, are you there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. 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 Then you have Android jar. Then you have the assets. Then the next folder is resource, wherein an image if you have, and also it also contains the graphical user interface related files, that is nothing but main.xml. Then string variables, that is strings.xml. Other than that, you have the Android manifest.xml, wherein you will be having the permission related information. Okay. So these are nothing but which comes under your Android anatomy. I hope you are I'm clear. So we'll see if possible next class. I'll just show you in that Android Studio only all these files and what are the contents within these files. Okay, so that time it will be more clear. Actually, I wanted to show you like that, but I don't know. It's not connecting here. I don't know what is the issue. Okay. Next, we'll go to components of Android application. Okay. Components of Android application. So Android application consists of many components which can be loosely coupled, you can say. So some of them we are going to see here. The first one under that is activities. So user interface of your application, that is which you are using. The same thing we said, text box or sorry, text view, or you can say as buttons, all those things, okay, which are built in your application. All these things comes under your activity. So these activities use fragments and views. So about fragments we are going to see in the next session. All these things comes under your activities. Then when you say services, these are invisible workers of your application, you can say like that. So service components, they run without a user interface. They keep on updating your data sources as well as activities, and if any notification are there, it will trigger. So that are the tasks of the services, and also it is going to broadcast intents. So they are used to perform many tasks that are required when there is no user interaction. Okay, so that is the next component related to service. And next comes the content provider. So content providers, they what do they do? They manage data, that is usually when you say we have the database, the SQL database. So managing the data in the database, so that is the task of your content providers. They are also preferred, so they are the preferred means to share data across application boundaries. We can also configure our application content providers to allow from other applications, and you can access the content providers which are exposed by others. Okay, that is what you have to say for your content providers. And the next component comes is intents. So what are intents? So intents are nothing but powerful inter application message passing framework. That is your intent. So intents are used throughout your Android application. So we can use intent to start as well as stop any activities as well as services. It can also be used to broadcast messages, also used in broadcast receivers, or to request an action to be performed on a particular piece of data. So intents is having a wide application in Android. Okay, and the next comes the broadcast receivers. So we already spoke about intents which are used throughout our Android. And next comes broadcast receivers, which you can call them as intent listeners. Okay, so broadcast receivers enable our application to listen for intent. So the other name for broadcast receivers are nothing but you can say it as listeners. So what do? They enable our application to listen for intents that match the criteria what we have told. Okay, broadcast receivers start our application to interact to any received intent, making them perfect for creating any event driven applications. So that's the purpose of broadcast receivers. So main thing what you should remember is they are the intent listeners. And widgets, we know what are widgets. So widgets are nothing but you can say as any visual components that are added to our home screen. You can call it as a widget. The A special variation of your broadcast receiver widget enable us to create dynamic as well as interactive application components in which user can embed which the user can embed into his home screen. So that is about widgets. And the last component what we have to speak is about notification. So we know what is notification. Every now and then we will be getting one or the other notifications. So notification, what does it do? It enables us to alert users of the application whenever any event has occurred. That is for notification, you can say. So the main purpose of notification is what? To get the attention of the user. Okay. So these are the different components which comes under your Android application. And the next thing you have is the life cycle of an activity. So in the previous slide we already said activity. So what is an activity? So activity, we can say it as a window that contains the user interface of your application. Okay, so your application can have zero or more activity, but the main activity will be only one. So here we are seeing the life cycle. So in the diagram it shows the life cycle of an activity. So to begin with, you have activity starts. When the activity starts, what happens? You have a function called as on create. So this particular function is called when the activity is first created. Okay, after that you have on start. So this function is called when the activity becomes visible to the user. And after that, now the activity is visible, next on resume or resume. So this particular function is called when the activity starts interacting with the user. And later on, what happens? Now the activity is running. Okay, so activity is running at any point of time. It pauses. In that case, what happens? This particular function, that is on pause, is called when the current activity is being paused and the previous activity needs to be resumed. Okay, so this particular thing is paused and the previous activity can be again resumed. That is one thing. And the next one is on stop. It is called when the activity is no longer visible to the user, that is it is stopped. So you can also say the process is killed. That is the thing. And once again you can restart it. Okay, that is the other way. If you want to restart it, the next function what you require is on restart. So when this function is called, the activity that has been stopped will be restarted again. So you can see here on stop. From here again, when you're giving on restart, once again that particular activity will be started. And finally the last one you have is on destroy. So this particular function is called before the activity is destroyed by the system. Either it can be manually or by the system to conserve. So main purpose for destroy is conserving your memory. So we all know whichever is not required, we have to usually in case of file, we have already done many programs related to file, right, in your lower semesters. So what you do, you open a file. When it is not required, finally you close that file. Why we are doing that? Because we have some restriction. Same thing here, for conserving memory purpose, at finally at one point of time you need to destroy. Okay, destroy that activity. So when you're destroying, the activity is shut down. So this is the life cycle of an activity. So you might get a question, define an activity and explain with the need diagram the life cycle of an activity. This is also an important question. Okay, guys, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll do this in the next class. Next time, no? So hopefully we'll see at least tomorrow. We show the live running of Android Studio. Hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.